The void hummed with data. 1,000 fractured voices, carried through light years of static, collided on the observation deck of the Concordium Vanguard. The transmission had been captured from a small blue world on the edge of an insignificant spiral arm. To most, the noise was meaningless. But to Commander Vaughn Cal, it was a mystery that refused to die. He stood before the holoarray, hands clasped behind his back, watching human signals cascade across the dark chamber. Laughter, explosions, orchestras, speeches, it was a chaos of emotion without pattern or logic. Even after weeks of decoding, it remained as unfathomable as the species that created it. "They are consistent in only one thing, Commander," said Archivist Drell, his voice a soft rasp. "Inconsistency." The commander's slit-pupiled eyes narrowed. "Primitive species often appear that way. But their persistence troubles me. Their noise has echoed for centuries, and yet the galaxy's chart marks that system as no contact, non-compliant. Why?" Drell adjusted the data streams, highlighting clusters of signal patterns. The archives show fragments of military transmissions, declarations of war between their own tribes, and music. But no interstellar signals, no warp drives, no signs of expansion. It is as if they chose to trap themselves on their homeworld. Behind them, Envoy Tassar, tall and scaled like molten glass, flicked his crest in amusement. "Perhaps they never learned unity. You've seen their images, small, soft-skinned bipeds, constantly fighting over soil and superstition. Why waste resources studying them? Their planet is rich, yes, but they are centuries from joining the stars." Vaughn did not turn. His gaze remained locked on the Earth rotating within the projection, a swirl of blue and white, beautiful in its simplicity. "Because no one else has claimed it," he said quietly. "The Kef, the Valeran, even the Drashti, every expansionist power skirted that sector. Entire empires have risen and fallen without setting foot there." Drell hesitated. "Perhaps superstition. The archives mention the Terran Silence, a region where ships vanish. Explorers avoid it." The commander's crest lowered slightly, a sign of contemplation. "Superstition does not keep fleets away, Archivist. Fear does." A deep vibration thrummed through the deck, the ship adjusting orbit above the galactic rim. Outside the viewports, the stars stretched into endless black, cold and indifferent. The crew of the Vanguard were explorers, surveyors, conquerors, yet something about this target stirred unease in even the hardened among them. Vaughn finally broke the silence. "Summon the Council. If this world is unclaimed, we will make it ours." Hours later, the command chamber flickered to life, 8 alien silhouettes gathered in spectral light. Holoscreens pulsed with streams of data, electromagnetic spectra, atmospheric readings, intercepted human broadcasts. On one feed, men in helmets ran across muddy terrain while explosions painted the sky. On another, humans embraced under falling rain. To alien eyes, it was madness, a world of contradiction. Envoy Tassar leaned forward. "Their weapons are crude. Chemical propulsion, metallic projectiles, nuclear energy. Their spacecraft barely leave their moon. A pre-jump civilization. We could subdue them within hours." Drell raised a hand. "Yet they transmit this." He activated a new file. A deep voice boomed through the chamber, shaking the air. "We choose to go to the moon, not because it is easy, but because it is hard." The words hung in the air long after the transmission ended. For a moment, none of the council spoke. "What is that?" Vaughn asked softly. "One of their leaders," Drell said. A primitive, yet his tone, there is no fear. Only resolve. Tassar gave a low hiss. "Posturing. Every species has dreamers. Their courage ends the moment they meet a plasma cannon." Vaughn regarded the projection again, watching the human face frozen mid-speech. "Perhaps. Or perhaps their strength lies in ignorance. They wage war on themselves yet survive. They poison their skies and still thrive. They are creatures of contradiction, and contradiction breeds adaptation." Drell studied his commander. "You believe they are dangerous?" "I believe," Vaughn replied, "they are misunderstood." Silence rippled across the table. The Concordium was not known for mercy. Every world they surveyed was weighed in the same calculation, resources versus resistance. But this time, the calculation did not sit cleanly. Vaughn turned to Drell. Prepare a reconnaissance schedule. Orbital observation first, followed by surface infiltration. I want to know how they think, how they organize, how they fight. Tassar snorted. You think too highly of them. Their broadcasts are cluttered with entertainment and fantasy. They wage wars of illusion. Listen to this. He activated another signal, actors in armor speaking of galaxies and empires. They dream of conquest yet live in caves of steel. Drell allowed himself a small smile. Dreams can be dangerous, envoy. Every weapon begins as a dream. A ripple of static interrupted them. One of the younger technicians turned sharply to his console. Commander, new signal detected, range within human orbital path. It's repeating. Source? Vaughn asked. Unclear. It's modulated within their old satellite bands. Translation incomplete. Play it. The chamber filled with a distorted human voice, layered with digital noise. A single phrase emerged through the static. We are still here. The word sent a shiver through the silence. Could be a leftover transmission, Tassar offered, but his tone had lost its confidence. Vaughn stared at the projection. No. That's a response. Drell frowned. To what? The commander turned to him, eyes glinting like obsidian. To us. No one spoke for several heartbeats. Beyond the hull, the cold eternity of space seemed to press closer. Vaughn finally exhaled, the faint vibration of his lungs audible in the hush. Mark this sector for first contact study. We proceed with caution, but we proceed. If this Earth is unclaimed, we will confirm why, and if necessary, correct the oversight. Drell nodded, though unease tightened his features. And if the myths are true? If others vanished for a reason? Vaughn's gaze drifted back to the silent blue planet. Then we'll learn what that reason was. Knowledge is worth risk. He dismissed the council, but lingered as the others left, the chamber dimming to shadows. The hologlobe of Earth hovered before him, glowing softly against the black. For a moment, he imagined the millions of lives moving below, creatures dreaming beneath clouds, shouting into the dark, unaware that someone was finally listening. He reached toward the projection, claws passing through light. Defenseless, he murmured. That's what they'll say. Behind him, the static voice echoed again from the console, faint but clear this time, still here. Vaughn froze, every crest on his spine rising. He slowly turned to Drell, who stood pale in the doorway. Commander, Drell whispered. That wasn't playback. The transmission came through live. The two exchanged a long, silent glance. Beyond the viewport, the stars continued their indifferent shimmer, but the blue world no longer seemed small. Vaughn finally spoke, his voice quiet yet heavy with something new, something like respect, or perhaps dread. Prepare the observation teams, he said. We may have just awakened something that was never asleep. And as the Concordium vanguard drifted toward the unknown planet, the last human signal faded into the void, leaving behind only those two haunting words echoing across the stars. Still here. The Concordium vanguard orbited the blue planet like a silent predator. From the observation spire, Commander Vaughn watched the world's cloud systems turn lazily beneath him. It looked tranquil, fragile even, a cradle of life untouched by the greater galaxy. Yet something in that stillness unsettled him. No world stayed unclaimed for this long without reason. Surface probes launched, reported Lieutenant Cale Run, his tone confident, almost eager. 3 descending over continental clusters. Atmospheric integrity stable. No defense grid detected. Archivist Drell stood beside Vaughn, thin fingers twitching against his datapad. They'll detect us. Their species has remarkable awareness for their technology level. Their transmissions, so many are directed inward, yet they sense outward danger as if by instinct. Cale smirked from his station. Instinct doesn't breach stealth shielding. They won't even know we're here. I'll wager I can land a drone within a kilometer of one of their population centers and retrieve samples before they realize anything. Vaughn didn't answer immediately. He studied Kale, a soldier of reputation and arrogance both. The young officer's hunger for conquest reminded him of his own youth, before he'd learned that curiosity could be sharper than any weapon. "Your confidence is admirable, Lieutenant," Vaughn said at last, "but arrogance kills faster than plasma fire. Stay cautious." The lieutenant's crest flicked in acknowledgement, though his grin betrayed impatience. "Caution noted, Commander. But this world is asleep. I intend to wake it gently." Hours later, Kale's reconnaissance craft detached from the vanguard. A sleek obsidian dart, it slipped through atmosphere without flame or sound. From orbit, Drell and Vaughn monitored his descent through a series of blurred, heat-smeared visuals. "Telemetry stable," Drell murmured. "Approaching surface, coordinates consistent with a coastal sector. Human settlements nearby." Static flared across the transmission, then cleared to reveal a night landscape, rolling waves reflecting city lights, distant structures of steel and glass rising like mountains of illumination. "Magnificent," Kale whispered through the comms. "They build with no symmetry, yet it holds beauty. I see thousands of their kind, unaware of anything beyond their sky. Such chaos. Such waste." Vaughn's voice came low, steady. "Remember, observation only. Do not engage, do not reveal." "Understood." For a while, only the hum of atmospheric data filled the bridge. Drell recorded energy readings and electromagnetic fluctuations while Vaughn observed in silence. Then, without warning, Kale's video feed jolted. "Commander, something's," the image fractured into streaks of light and darkness. A bright flash flared across the view, then the connection dropped to black. "Signal lost," Drell said sharply, fingers flying over the console. Attempting re-establish, no response. "Tracking beacon offline." Vaughn's jaw tightened. Was it human interference? Unknown. No sign of weapons discharge, no energy spike. Just, gone. The commander turned toward the viewport. Below, the blue planet rotated serenely, as if nothing had happened. "Prepare a retrieval drone," he ordered. "We're not leaving him." Within hours, an automated craft descended along Kale's last coordinates. The bridge crew watched its slow journey through a dense band of clouds. No contact, no resistance. When it returned, its containment capsule sealed, tension coiled through the air. The capsule opened under sterile light. Inside lay not Kale, but the remains of his reconnaissance equipment, dismantled, rearranged, reassembled. Every component had been rebuilt with precision finer than any Concordium engineer could achieve. Circuits gleamed in unfamiliar patterns. Drell leaned closer, voice trembling. "Commander, these aren't repairs. They're enhancements." "What?" "His systems, they've been modified. Whoever touched them understood our tech, and improved it." Vaughn's claws clicked softly against the metal rim. "Analyze. Immediately." Data streamed across the displays. Energy efficiency increased by 30%. Signal clarity doubled. Every adjustment purposeful, deliberate. And engraved into one polished plate, as if to ensure recognition, was a symbol none of them could mistake, the emblem of the Concordium. Vaughn's gaze hardened. "They sent it back to us." The words hung heavy in the air. Drell swallowed. If they had captured him, they should not have known what to do with the equipment. Their technological level is centuries behind. "Unless," Vaughn said quietly, "they've been learning from others who came before us." He turned toward the window again. The earth shimmered, its clouds glowing under sunlight. "Send another drone," he said. Drell hesitated. "Commander, if this is a trap." "All wars begin with traps, Archivist. We need answers." The second probe launched. For 3 hours, it transmitted clean data until it reached the stratosphere. Then came silence again. This time, when they analyzed the black box, there were no signs of impact or malfunction. The systems had simply stopped. As if something had reached into their circuits and erased function itself. Drell stared at the voided memory cores. "They didn't destroy it, they turned it off." "Intentionally?" Vaughn asked. "Yes. Selectively. They left traces of diagnostic pings, as if they wanted us to see their fingerprints. Vaughn exhaled through clenched teeth. They are taunting us. Night fell over the command deck, the planet now a glowing sphere of city lights beneath them. The crew's unease had grown into a quiet dread. Reports came of strange signals echoing through their communications arrays, human frequencies, altered, repeating distorted fragments of Concordium language. One phrase, faint but persistent, repeated every hour, "You shouldn't have come." Drell approached the commander's chair. "It's not random, sir. They're sending it directly on our encrypted bands. Meaning they've broken our codes." Vaughn rose, expression unreadable. "And yet they make no attempt to attack. Perhaps they're warning us. Or playing with us," Vaughn countered. "Predators do that." The commander walked toward the viewport, where the planet loomed vast and deceptively peaceful. "They know we're here. They want us to act first." Drell's voice softened. "Commander, what if the reason no one colonized this world is because someone already tried?" Vaughn turned sharply. "If others came before, where are their records?" "Gone," Drell said. "Entire expeditions erased from archive continuity. Only scattered mentions of silent losses near this sector. It's as if someone purged the evidence." Outside, a flicker of movement caught their attention, brief, almost imperceptible. One of the orbital probes winked off their sensors. Then another. "System interference increasing," Drell said, panic edging his tone. "Our outer net is collapsing, something's disabling them one by one." "Source?" He shook his head. "No detectable energy. It's like they're disappearing." Vaughn's voice dropped to a whisper. "Not disappearing. Being taken." The command deck went dark for a heartbeat as lights flickered. When power returned, the ship's internal comms activated unbidden. A voice spoke, human, distorted, male. "We told you. Still here." Every crew member froze. The words were not coming from any known channel, they were being projected from inside the ship systems. "Trace it!" Vaughn barked. Drell's hands flew across the controls. "It's not external, Commander." The voice, "It's embedded in our main processor." "How?" "Unknown. It wasn't there an hour ago." For a long moment, the bridge remained utterly silent except for the steady hum of the engines. Then Vaughn exhaled, his decision made. "Pull back to high orbit," he ordered. "Cease all probes. They're not the prey we thought." Drell met his gaze, eyes reflecting the glow of Earth below. "Then what are they?" Vaughn looked down at the swirling blue planet, now less like prey and more like something vast and waiting. "Something that hides in plain sight," he said. "Something that lets others call it defenseless, until it decides otherwise." The Concordium Vanguard began its slow ascent, engines burning silently against the void. Below, unseen, 1,000 human satellites adjusted their positions by fractions of degrees, aligning into a pattern invisible to alien eyes but deliberate in its geometry. And deep beneath the clouds, somewhere in the dark between continents, a human technician lowered his headset and smiled. "They are watching," he said to no one. "Good." Above, in the commander's silence, Vaughn finally understood what every vanished fleet must have felt in their final moments. Not fear of defeat, but the dawning horror of recognition. Earth had noticed them. And it had begun to answer. The invasion began in silence. 12 Concordium battlecruisers emerged from the void like wraiths, their hulls reflecting the pale light of a blue sun. Commander Vaughn stood upon the command deck of the Vanguard, gaze fixed on the planet below. It no longer looked tranquil. The oceans shimmered like watchful eyes, the continents shadowed with quiet defiance. He had ordered restraint for days, demanded patience, but now the Council demanded results. The observation phase was over. "Fleet in position," reported Admiral Thal'kor, voice crisp through the comms. "All ships within firing arc awaiting authorization to commence." Drell stood beside Vaughn, hollow-eyed from sleepless nights. "Commander, if they can manipulate our systems as before, any direct assault could be disastrous. We don't understand how they are." "We've spent enough time in fear of ghosts," Vaughn interrupted. His voice was calm, but the tension in his jaw betrayed him. "This is no longer observation. It's confirmation. Admiral Thal'kor's image flickered above the console, broad-shouldered, scales dull from the low light. Then we begin. Vaughn hesitated, eyes flicking once more to the planet. Begin. The first volley left the Concordium fleet in perfect unison, streams of contained plasma and graviton warheads slicing through atmosphere. They should have struck with apocalyptic precision. But before contact, the weapons simply ceased. No explosion, no detonation. The missiles dissolved mid-flight, their energy signatures extinguished as if swallowed by the void. Impact failure. Thal barked. No resistance detected, but weapons neutralized, completely. Drell's trembling fingers danced across his datapad. Commander, the warheads are gone, no trace in the debris field. It's like the air consumed them. Vaughn's crest rose in alarm. Maintain formation. Deploy secondary armament, mass drivers only. We'll overwhelm their interference. But when the kinetic salvos fired, the projectiles vanished too, erased in flight. Across the command deck, murmurs of disbelief spread like contagion. They're disabling physical matter, Drell whispered. Manipulating atomic resonance. Commander, this level of control. Impossible, Thal snapped over comms. No planetary civilization possesses such. Her voice cut off mid-word. Her holographic image glitched, froze, then disintegrated into static. Signal loss, flagship Caratha's pried offline, an ensign shouted. Communications blackout across 3 sectors. Vaughn slammed his fist against the railing. Reroute comms through the Vanguard. Find her. But before Drell could respond, a deep vibration rolled through the deck, the soundless hum of a massive energy surge. Every console dimmed. The crew froze as the central display flickered back to life, showing the planet once more. But now, across its night side, something stirred, thousands of points of light moving in coordinated patterns. They're launching aircraft, Drell murmured. No, Vaughn said quietly, those aren't aircraft. The lights didn't rise from launch bays or hangars, they appeared directly in the upper atmosphere, forming geometrically perfect grids that rotated like clockwork. A pulse rippled outward from the planet, invisible to the eye but strong enough to rattle every bone on the bridge. All systems fluctuating. Drell shouted. Power drain across the fleet, energy fields collapsing. Vaughn stared, speechless, as the grid of human satellites reconfigured itself into a vast network. Every node emitted faint electromagnetic bursts, thousands of human-made machines, once mundane tools of communication, now operating as a single organism. They're synchronizing, Drell realized, or creeping into his voice. They're using their entire orbital layer as a weapon array. Static erupted through the bridge's comms, no longer chaotic, but rhythmic. It formed a pattern. A voice emerged from it, distorted yet unmistakably human. Leave orbit. A hush fell. Every soldier, every technician turned to Vaughn. The commander's voice, when it came, was low and steady. Maintain position. We are the Concordium. We do not flee. Almost immediately, every ship's alarm screamed. External sensors registered something climbing from the atmosphere, dozens of human craft, crude in shape but impossibly fast. They shouldn't have been capable of spaceflight, and yet they were. Contact. Multiple interceptors approaching Vector 7-3. Vaughn moved closer to the viewport. The approaching vessels shimmered, half-cloaked in a haze of plasma and ion trails. Engage defense screens. But the moment the shields activated, they flickered, then collapsed. Energy siphoned directly from the generators, redirected downward. They're feeding off our shields. Drell shouted. They're rewriting our energy matrices in real time, using our own signals against us. Vaughn felt the icy realization settle. They've studied our systems. Learned every weakness. A human voice broke through again, this time clearer, you shouldn't have come. The first alien cruiser erupted in a silent flash, its own core detonated remotely. The explosion rippled across the fleet, chain reactions triggered with surgical precision. Human vessels darted between wrecks, not firing weapons but transmitting streams of encrypted data into each ship's command systems. Commander! Drell gasped. They are taking control, every encryption layer failing. Purge the system. Vaughn barked. We can't, they've mirrored our root protocols. It's like they've always known them. Another ship vanished into white flame. Panic spread. The Vanguard shook violently as an energy surge cascaded through its hull. Vaughn steadied himself on the railing. Eject all drones. Scatter. Force them to divide their focus. The drones launched, but the human ships ignored them. Instead, they turned their attention toward the Vanguard. Every console on the bridge lit up with streams of alien code, then transformed into human language, translated perfectly into the Concordium's interface. A message blinked across every screen, "You're inside our perimeter now." Then came the noise. The humans didn't attack with weapons, they attacked with sound. Their systems flooded the alien ships with bursts of overlapping audio, screams, laughter, orchestral thunder, the same transmissions Vaughn had once studied in Curiosity. The chaos of humanity became a weapon, saturating every frequency, drowning sensors and logic alike. The crew collapsed beneath the noise. Drell clutched his head. They are destabilizing neural frequencies, using resonance to disrupt focus. They've weaponized their culture. Through the cacophony, Vaughn forced his voice out. Silence all channels. Hard reset on comms. The sounds cut instantly. Only one voice remained, smooth and calm. Commander Vaughn Cow, it said. We warned you. Leave. Vaughn looked up. On the main screen, a human face appeared, an older man, expression unreadable. Who are you? Vaughn demanded. The one who listens, the human replied. You thought we were asleep. But we were waiting for the next noise in the dark. Drell stared at the image, whispering, they've been aware of us all along. Vaughn's claws dug into the railing. If you wanted peace, why not announce yourselves? Peace? The man smiled faintly. You came armed. You came to test. Now you've seen the answer. Before Vaughn could respond, the image dissolved. The fleet's remaining ships, 4 of 12, suddenly broke formation, drifting lifelessly as every reactor went dark. Only the Vanguard remained operational. Systems dimmed, power levels falling to critical. Drell slumped beside the console, voice hollow. They've spared us. Vaughn's voice was rough. No. They're sending a message. The human face flickered once more, appearing on the viewport glass as if painted by light itself. You called us defenseless, the voice said softly. That was your first mistake. The screen went black. In the darkness, the hum of the engines slowed to silence. Only Earth's reflection remained, vast and watchful. Vaughn exhaled, every trace of arrogance gone from his voice. Set emergency drift trajectory. Away from the planet. Drell looked at him, pale and trembling. Commander, what will you tell the Council? Vaughn stared at the blue world glowing in the void. That we found the reason no one comes here. And as the Vanguard limped from orbit, behind them the lights of Earth's night side shifted, thousands of satellites rear-lining once more, forming a pattern like a great unblinking eye. It watched them go. The stars over Earth burned silently, 1,000 cold witnesses to a revelation no alien empire had ever wanted to confront. Admiral Thal'kor stood aboard the flagship Veretha's spear, his 4 crimson eyes locked on the blue-white sphere that hung below them like a fragile jewel. It looked harmless, primitive even. No orbital defenses. No fleet patrols. No planetary shields. Yet, every major galactic power that had ever turned its gaze toward Earth had withdrawn. Every attempt to conquer had ended in silence. He could feel it, the weight of 1,000 unspoken fears pressing down on the bridge crew. Reports from vanished fleets, data erased mid-transmission, energy readings that defied all known physics. They called it the silent barrier. But Thal'kor had never believed in ghosts or divine protections. He believed in patterns, in cause and consequence. And tonight, he would uncover the truth. Beside him stood Captain Dren, his most trusted aide, his scales dulled with unease. Sir, the men are restless. They say the planet's cursed. Thal'kor's gaze did not waver. Curses are stories the weak tell themselves to explain failure. We're not here to listen to stories. Yet even as he said it, something deep within him stirred, a primal warning, a tremor in his instincts. Every alien race in the galaxy had learned, through blood and disappearance, that Earth was untouchable. But why? Deploy recon drones. I want full-spectrum scans, magnetic, gravimetric, psionic. The drones shot forward, their trails vanishing into the night side of Earth. For a moment, all was calm. Then, one by one, the signals winked out. Lost contact, Dren whispered, his voice breaking. All 12 units, gone. Thal'kor turned slowly. Gone, how? Vanished mid-transmission. Like they were swallowed. Before he could reply, a voice crackled through the command deck, a deep, measured tone that was unmistakably human. This is Earth Control. Identify yourselves. Every eye turned toward the comm station. A human voice? Reaching them? Through subspace encryption? Impossible. Thal'kor approached the console. This is Admiral Thal'kor of the Vireth Dominion. We are conducting reconnaissance. There was a pause. Then came the reply, leave. Just that one word. Calm. Icy. Absolute. Thal'kor felt his throat tighten. The transmission cut. No source. No frequency trace. Just silence. He turned to Dren. Trace the origin. Already did, the captain said, pale. But, it came from inside our ship. The deck went silent. Every breath was measured. Every motion deliberate. Something unseen was here. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A low hum filled the air, like a pulse, slow and rhythmic, echoing through metal. The screens showed static, then flashes, images of human faces, brief, distorted, staring straight into their souls. Men in uniform. Eyes that burned with quiet confidence. Soldiers. Then the hum stopped. Everything powered down. Reboot all systems. Thal'kor barked. Trying, sir, it's locked out. Every function is being overridden. And then the screens lit again, one by one. Not with human faces this time, but with coordinates. Old coordinates. He recognized them instantly. The locations of every Dominion world that had ever vanished after attempting to attack Earth. They're sending us data, Dren whispered. Thal'kor narrowed his eyes. No. They're reminding us. Moments later, a ripple of light passed through the ship's hull. The stars twisted, space bending as if reality itself trembled. Earth shimmered before them, not with defense satellites or energy shields, but with something deeper, something that felt alive. It's not technology, Thal'kor murmured. It's the planet itself. Suddenly, the ship's sensors came back online, unprompted. Streams of data flooded in. Global readings, history logs, electromagnetic signatures, and among them, a pattern. He froze. The data matched no known species. No system, no weapon. But it was there, buried deep in the noise, millions of simultaneous signals, each one small, but synchronized. Human neural activity. They're connected, Dren said, awestruck. Every human mind, resonating at the same frequency. It's like a collective field, Thal'kor finished softly. A planetary consciousness. For the first time in his life, the Admiral felt fear, not of destruction, but of comprehension. It wasn't that Earth was undefended. It was that the humans themselves were the defense. Their consciousness, their collective awareness, had evolved, or perhaps been awakened, into something beyond physics. A unity that lashed out at any intruder not through weapons, but through reality itself. No fleet could survive it because no fleet could understand it. Sir, Dren whispered. What do we do? Thal'kor stood silently, his eyes still on Earth. He saw now why every empire had fallen silent. Why the stars avoided this small, blue world. He turned toward his men, every hardened warrior now trembling beneath the weight of that unseen intelligence pressing against their minds, not in hatred, but in warning. We leave, he said finally. We tell them what we've seen. Not of human weapons, but of human will. They are not prey. They are the storm that waits behind still waters. The ship began to turn, engines igniting in hushed reverence. As they ascended from orbit, the hum returned one last time, not invasive, not angry, but almost forgiving. Thal'kor felt something then. A whisper in his mind, soft and clear. "Stay among the stars, Admiral. The Earth is not yet yours to touch." He nodded to the unseen voice. "Understood." And as the Varetha's spear vanished into the void, Earth turned beneath them, silent and serene. To any watcher, it looked defenseless, a cradle of fragile life orbiting an ordinary sun. But those who had seen the truth would never return. For the galaxy now knew the real reason no one attacked Earth. It wasn't fear of death. It was respect for the impossible. And somewhere, deep beneath the planet's calm oceans and sleeping cities, the consciousness that was humanity itself stirred briefly, then returned to dreaming, waiting for the day it might be needed again.